Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing in regional Australia lately, the 2026 census, and its struggle to count the FIFO, or fly-in fly-out, workforce. Now, if you're not familiar, FIFO workers are essentially modern-day nomads, flying into remote, mining towns for work, and then back to their real homes elsewhere. Sounds straightforward, right? But here's the kicker. These workers are creating what's being called a ghost population, and it's causing a massive headache for places like Kalgoorlie-Boulder. Personally, I think what makes this really interesting is how it highlights the disconnect between traditional census methods and the realities of a modern, mobile workforce. I mean, think about it, the census is designed to capture where you live, but for FIFO workers, home is a complicated concept. Is it where they sleep most nights during their roster, or where their family and permanent address are? This raises a deeper question. How do we define belonging in an era where work and life are so fragmented? Take Kalgoorlie-Boulder, for example. This mining city is booming, with its airport now one of the busiest in regional Western Australia. Mayor Glenn Wilson has been vocal about the strain this puts on local infrastructure, roads, schools, wastewater plants, all built for a population that doesn't fully account for these transient workers. What many people don't realize is that census data directly ties into funding. If the population is undercounted, these towns miss out on millions in grants. It's not just about numbers, it's about survival for these communities. Now, let's talk about the census itself. The Australian Bureau of Statistics, ABS, uses the concept of usual residence basically, where you spend more than 6 months of the year. But here's where it gets tricky. Many FIFO workers split their time almost evenly between work and home. From my perspective, this binary approach feels outdated. Shouldn't there be a way to account for the dual impact these workers have on both their work and home communities? One thing that immediately stands out is the emotional side of this issue. Cheryl Yam, an organizational psychiatrist, points out that for FIFO workers, the camp isn't just a workplace, it's where they spend a huge chunk of their lives. Yet, when it comes to the census, they're often reluctant to call it home. This tension between identity and practicality is fascinating. It's not just about data, it's about how people perceive their place in the world. What this really suggests is that the census needs to evolve. Maybe it's time to add more nuanced questions, something that captures the dual nature of FIFO life. Robert Powell, a FIFO worker, suggests exactly that. He sees his Perth home as his primary residence, but acknowledges the impact he has on Port Hedland's infrastructure. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just an Australian problem. With remote work and global mobility on the rise, how we count populations is becoming increasingly complex everywhere. In my opinion, the 2026 census is a litmus test for how well we can adapt to these changes. If we get it right, we not only ensure fair funding for regional towns, but also set a precedent for how to handle transient populations globally. But if we don't, we risk leaving these communities, and the workers themselves, in a state of limbo. So, here's my closing thought. As we move toward a more mobile future, how do we redefine what it means to belong? Is it about where you sleep, where you work, or where your heart is? Let me know what you think in the comments, because this isn't just a census issue, it's a question about the very nature of community in the 21st century.